What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a little video review slash overview of the features and the things I like and dislike about our Attitude toy hauler. We have the 20FB-LE model. This toy hauler was in our budget, was perfect for this car, our 4C X3 Max. And since we've been getting a couple questions over it, I'm gonna overview the whole toy hauler, give you guys a general idea of what you would be looking at a toy hauler like this, and pros and cons depending on the car that you have and if it will fit and what issues you will have, like the issues that I have as far as fitment. If you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, I urge you to do so. I do videos like reviews on this toy hauler, checking out my X3 to go riding, doing modifications to the X3, to my Silverado, just going out having a good time. So if you're into that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button and leave a like. And if you have any questions on this toy hauler, leave them down in the comment section below or hit me up on Instagram. I'll leave a link to my Instagram profile in the description. So this model, the 20FB-LE, stands for 20 feet of storage, FB is fiberglass, and I believe LE is the trim. So this is the 20-foot storage model because from the end of the back gate there all the way to the front wall, it's 20 feet. And they're giving you 20 feet of storage based on the fact that this bed will fold up and give you more section of storage there. So this is what it looks like with the bed folded out of the way. So as you can see, the storage does get longer. They do give you the claimed 20 feet of storage. Right here, you can easily fit a quad such as a Raptor 700 or any of your other sport ATVs, 450s, Banshees. So when it comes to fitting a side-by-side, which most people, this is what they want a toy hauler for. They want a side-by-side that will fit in their toy hauler and they want to be able to carry it without having issues. This toy hauler will fit a 4-seat Can-Am X3 Max, and I'll show you that right now. I do fit my X3 Max. If you've seen the last video we did when we went to TDS 2020, you would see that the car barely fits, and it'll have about 1.5 inches from the wheel to the wall. And as you can see there, I have scraped or rubbed a couple times, and you have about 1.5 inches, 2 inches on this side from hitting the cabinets. I would say more around 3 inches because there is room. But it's definitely a tight fit, and it's something you need to take into consideration if you were to buy a toy hauler like this, that the Max X3 is a very large car and it's pretty tight fit. So a Razor 4-seat, usually the cab is narrower, and the 72-inch model would probably be about the same issue. But the big difference between the Razor 4-seat as far as the Turbo S and the Can-Am is the cage width-wise is a lot narrower on a Razor, which works better. Because one issue I do have with my Can-Am, and I showed this on the last video when we went to TDS, is sometimes if I'm not careful, I will hit this cabinet, and when I mean hit, I mean it'll rub. So here is a little mark where it rubbed at one point. It's not horrible, but it's very close, and normally if I get it in here just right, I'll have about 2 inches max from hitting the cabinet. So that's something to take in consideration. Just be aware of the possible problems that you may encounter. So if you want to know more about if your X3 Max will fit in this toy hauler, hit the subscribe button. I will do a video in the future of putting the car in, how do I get it in, the angles you got to take to put it in, and actually how you have to crawl out of the car onto the granite countertop in order to get out of the car. So it's not easy, but it can be done. This toy hauler came with 2 of these captain seats, and when we go out riding somewhere, these captain seats go into this area over here. So if you want to put another quad along with your 4-seat side-by-side, it's gonna be tricky finding a spot to put these. Also, you're gonna be very limited on storage as far as the other stuff, because when I go out, I take my grill, I take my kids' little Power Wheels, and I also take a couple other things like the generator. But other than that, there's no other real things that need to be moved around except for the tables, which can easily be stored with the bed folded up. So speaking of beds, you got 3 beds in total. You got this bed here, which I would consider maybe the master bed. You got options for a USB charging station, also a 12-volt auxiliary. You also got some plugs for 110, and you have the heater controls for the heater that is down there. We'll get to that in a second. You also got a light here, which helps out a lot in the nighttime. The second and third bed would be these two here. They give you a folding bed here, which doubles as a couch. So this doubles as a couch. It'll unfold and become just a regular little love seat. And then when it's in this position, I kind of have it folded and tweaked right now, but when you have it in this position, you can easily sleep here. But I would say it's more for the kids, because I slept here the last time we went out to TDS, and my feet kind of do stick out a little bit, and I'm only 5'9", so if you're a taller guy, this one is not gonna work for you. The last bed is this large bed. It's pretty large. It used to make a lot more noise. I had to put these rubber shims here in order for the pins to keep making noise, because it was extremely loud. If you're moving in the middle of the night, you're waking everybody up. So I put some rubber shims on that, keep that in mind. This bed does come with a cheapo ladder. It really is not the greatest ladder in the world, but it gets the job done. The ladder they give you is really cheap. These things fall off all the freaking time. I'm about to just remove them all completely. But yeah, they go back on like that. So you have access to your bed up here. It's probably about the same size as that one, except for lengthwise and maybe a little bit longer, but the bed mattress they give you is about the same size. So all it is, you know, a big giant sheet of plywood and some framing, and it's bolted to the walls. You can easily sleep two people up here comfortably. They give you a vent up here, and they also give you a light on this corner on this side. This bed works fine. It just makes a lot of noise if you don't put those rubber shims like I did. So that's the sleeping situation. Next I'm going to show you guys the tables that it comes with that help out for eating and dining, and also just for chilling out. So right here there's this indentation here, or built-in bar holder. I don't know what you call that. There's another two on this side. I already installed them, and they give you these tables, and I'm gonna install these tables and I'll show you that in just a second. All right, so the tables are installed. This table here works great for when you're eating. You and the wife are having a good time eating your food, and the kids can sit on this one. When this is folded down, it's just a little couch. Also doubles as a seating area for your dining table, so everyone can eat just fine. So there's a lot of moving parts, going back and forth, moving this, moving that, but it's well worth it. There's plenty of good use of the space, and it works out great for eating hot dogs and hamburgers in the middle of the desert. So there's also a TV section here. I'm gonna go over the cabinets now. I mounted a TV to this back cabinet set here. The back cabinet set houses the radio, this cheapo radio that comes with, also plays DVDs. The video goes to the TV, and the audio actually plays through these speakers here, which I upgraded. We'll get to that on another video. The cabinet also houses all your buttons for all the important stuff, like the awning that retracts in and out. I'll show you guys that. It also houses the button for the bed extending in and out. It houses the dimmer switch for your main lighting. So there's 4 lights in total in here that are the main lighting that are controlled by the dimmer. There's also the one light that I showed you guys over there by the bed that's controlled only by that switch. For the master room, there's a lighting. The restroom has its own lighting. And then as far as the kitchen, there's another light here. And the same thing goes for over here. There's a switch for those. So it also gives you your gray water, your black water, and your fresh water status as far as how filled they are. Also your battery level, which mine should be charged because I keep it hooked up to the 110. And then it also gives you the curbside floodlight, which is there. Works great at night. Not super bright, but not super dim. It does the job, doesn't blind you. Also 2 more buttons here. One is for the water pump and the water heater for when you want to take that nice hot shower in the middle of nowhere. On this side, we got 2 cabinets here. Keep your disposable plates and cups. Keep your barbecue chips and your orange drink. And then the TV here that I mounted. One thing to know on this TV mount section is behind this is absolutely nothing. It's all dead space. It's freaking ridiculous that there's nothing here. For the TV, there is a metal bracket right in the center that goes upwards and does have good support for the TV. The TV doesn't seem to move, but besides that middle section, this is all cheapo, you know, plywood covering. I wish there was a little bit more room above the cabinets to easily store the helmets, but it doesn't have enough room there. But it works great to put the blankets, as you can see there, and it works out just fine. And on this side, the cabinets all have, you know, good detents to keep them from opening up in the middle of travel. Over here is the microwave. Over here is another storage section. There's nothing to it here. There's a little lip to keep maybe a basket from coming out, but there's no door. The freezer and the refrigerator are here. They work just fine, no issues so far. Microwave worked the time we popped popcorn, so nothing really to say about that. We haven't tried out the oven either. We had tried out the stovetop. The stovetop worked great for heating up water and other stuff such as makes tortillas, because you gotta have them burritos in the middle of nowhere. There's a spice rack here, works great, similar to the one we have at home. There's 3 drawers here to keep your spoons, your forks, and whatever else you may need. At the bottom here, this is all the storage they give you. They give you this little section of storage. It's very little, kind of disappointing. Behind that is nothing. It's just freaking lost space, but you are able to kind of reach in there and put stuff back there. I do have some stuff back there. It works out. Beneath the refrigerator is the burner for the heater. The heater worked great the last time we used it at TDS 2020. The only problem with this, and this is not anything wrong with the heater, but just the quality of the manufacturer, they left sawdust all underneath the freaking heater next to the open flame, which is freaking retarded, you know. Could easily catch on fire. So if you do buy a toy hauler like this, or any toy hauler, just vacuum out the sawdust. It's so ridiculously easy and just stupid that they left it like that, but that's one issue I had. This is your fuse panel and circuit breaker box here for your 12-volt fuses and your 110 circuit breakers. So all that works great. Haven't really had to use it yet, which is a good thing, I guess. So this toy hauler packages everything pretty neatly. You get 20 feet of storage, and then you get a full-size restroom here. You got a vent and an electric little fan. You got your little sink. You got a toilet bowl and a full shower. Now, it's not the greatest shower in the world, but I'm 5'9" and I fit just fine. I got about at least 8 inches above me, so if you're not a super tall guy, you'll do just fine. It's mainly for the freaking wife anyways. So one thing I forgot to mention is that this room here, which is the master room, has curtains for privacy. You know what I'm talking about. So when you're trying to get nasty in the middle of the night, you close these curtains, and they're soundproof. The kids can't hear you. Okay, maybe not, but the curtains work great. The kids like it. They like to cover everything up, and the kids hang out in there. The top here, this adjustable bed, or what do you call this? Moves up and down bed, whatever. Also has its own curtains. The only problem I see with these is on this side, because there's very little space for the curtains. The curtains keep getting stuck on the door, on the bed, and keep getting damaged, which is a design flaw, but you can't have it at all. As far as windows go, let me go over the windows, and then we'll go to the outside of the toy hauler and show you guys the outside. So in the kitchen, you have this sliding window. Works great. Has a screen here, so no bugs come in. On the driver's side rear is another window that you can open up, but it's an emergency window only. It doesn't slide, and I'll show you how the emergency window works on the opposite corner, because there's another window over there in that master room. On the passenger corner rear, there's another sliding window, very large, great for letting the air in. The big window here has a small sliding window right at the very bottom, which works great too. Kids like sticking their head out of there and freaking yelling at me when I'm outside. And then over here is another emergency window like I was talking about. That also has a vent. So this one's pretty simple. You pull this latch up and you push this out, and yeah, that's all it is to it. It's the oh shit window. The only problem with the emergency windows that I found is at night, we noticed that the air was coming in. There's a small air leak, so I'm gonna have to run some weather stripping a little bit to get the air from escaping or from coming in, because when the kids sleep here, I don't want them getting sick. The door has a screen as well, a separate screen for the door, which is great. It's got a little window here to pass the dish plates or whatever you got going on. Last thing I want to touch on as far as the interior is the 110 outlets. So the 110 outlets, obviously you gotta be powered by 110, which means being hooked up to the generator. You got outlets here. You got outlets behind this cabinet for the microwave, but there's another one there if you needed it. You got another set of 110 outlets here for your Milwaukee battery charging station. The only problem I see with these freaking outlets is they're super cheap, and I'll show you this. Let's see if I can catch it on video. Because the cabinet is made really cheap, and because these outlets feel really cheap, when you're trying to install it, everything flexes really ugly. I don't really like that. But on the opposite side where the other cabinets are, also another 2 sets of 110 outlets. All the cabinets, all the outlets, all the beds, everything that's made in this toy hauler seems to be lightweight. But with lightweight, you seem to sacrifice quality. So not everything in the toy hauler is quality. Most of it, I would say, is mediocre. But you get what you pay for. You got to keep this toy hauler light. I'll go over the weight in a second. But definitely something to keep in mind, that all this stuff in this toy hauler you got to take care of, because everything just falls apart really easily. I did have an issue with that rear bed. The hinges for it to going up and down weren't bolted in the correct spot. So, you know, the wood just started coming apart in some sections, and I had to re-glue it and remount the hinge and take care of that, which is an annoyance, but it's a mass-produced trailer and I get it. But still, some of the components are really cheap and it's really annoying. Same thing with these drawers. They feel extremely cheap. When you open this drawer, the detent or the locking mechanism here that holds it in kind of doesn't feel that great. It just feels weird. So it's just something to keep in mind if you have a toy hauler. The last thing I forgot to touch on is, and I'll touch on this on another video when I do the actual video of how to put your X3 into one of these. On the very right side, where the right wheels would go on your side-by-side, you have to pass the wheels over this hump here and along the other side here. So if you have a 4-seat, your wheel lands around here just after passing the hump. One thing I wanted to know about that, because you have to go over it, especially with a 72-inch machine. One thing I wanted to know about that is if you have a 2-seater, you may be sitting on top of the hump if you want the car to be against the wall, or you're just gonna have to push the car all the way to the front, which means you're gonna have some storage behind your car. So just something to think about. The hump is there and you have to be mindful of that. You do get a fire extinguisher here by the door, which is nice to have. I have it currently put away over there. One thing I did forget to mention is because the tire would rub here, I did break off a little plate that was here, which is just an access plate for your 110 on the outside. So there's 2 110 plugs on the outside, and that's really it. So the interior of the toy hauler works out great. Like I was talking about the heater, her heater works great. One last thing is the AC. The AC works great. It's not a very big toy hauler. You hook up the generator and it cools and it does the job. Nothing special about that. No issues to report of yet. But yeah, there's your AC unit. Also got a fire alarm and a smoke detector on that other corner. But the toy hauler is great. It works out great for us. It's just a little small. Like I was talking about, the X3 barely fits, and that's the only drawback. If I wanted to get a quad to take with us, I probably won't be able to do that, because between these 2 chairs, the generator, the grill, my kids' Power Wheels, there is no room for a quad, because the X3 Max is a fairly large car. But if you have a 2-seater X3 or Razor or Honda Talon or the new Kawasaki, the Yamaha YXZ, whatever you got going on, I think you have plenty of room to be able to fit that 2-seat car, plus put another quad in the back. So let's take a look at the outside and I'll show you guys, you know, what the outside looks like, some of the features and some of the audio speakers and stuff like that. All right, so it's nothing to see back here, just your general marker lights and big giant door to load up your car. So these have some really nice hinges and latches. They kind of just pop up and move out just like that, and then when you want to put it back, you can do it one hand. Works out pretty good. So the toy hauler has a nice awning. I don't remember the exact dimensions. It might be something like 16-17 feet, and it works out great. When it's really windy outside, probably a good idea to put it away, because it will take it. The toy hauler has these stands, jack stands here on all 4 corners. They are not electric, they are manual, but if you get a I think it was, believe a 19 or a 3/4 socket, they'll fit just over this with a drill, and you can put them up in no time. It really takes no time at all. I probably set up this toy hauler and level it within 6-7 minutes. So this is a dual axle toy hauler, dual axle trailer. It has brakes on both axles. You got your 2 110s here. So above there, you can see that there is speakers for the system. There's one speaker over there and one speaker over here. They do look a little bit different, and I'll get to that in another video. And there's your flood lamp for nighttime. It works out great. I like how the graphics go along the windows. I kind of like that. Makes the toy hauler look pretty sporty. I did get the flat-sided fiberglass model. I did not get the corrugated or whatever it's called, aluminum shingled toy hauler. I thought this one looked better. The only drawback I hear is that the other one is easier to repair and this one is a pain in the mother. I do have a gas hookup here, so I want to show you guys this. This is a gas hookup. I actually installed these adapters. It just had a plug with nothing on it. I installed these adapters, and the way this works is these are quick disconnect. So I have a long 20-foot hose that quick disconnects to this, and I connect it to the grill or to the portable heater we have. It's better than carry around more propane tanks when you already have 2 storage tanks here. So these are 2 propane tanks here. They're both I think 20 pounds, and then you got 2 batteries here. So I only came with one. I had to buy some sections of cable and install another battery in another box, but it works out great. They work fine. They're held in with some tether straps. They don't go anywhere while riding. There's the LEDs for the toy hauler. They look great. They're turned on by a switch on the interior. I do like the graphics on the outside with the 2 horses. Looks pretty sporty. Think Ferrari, I don't know. It is a normal 2 5/16 coupler in the front for bumper pull. The jack in the front is also manual. Nothing much to see here. These are for my anti-sway bars. The only thing I want to mention here is that in the front, they must have not had any other ideas here, because they just put this angle iron here for a generator. No generator fits here. I tried putting my generator on there without the wheels, and it just fits awkwardly. It's not a good space for a generator. I called Attitude and asked them what generator fits here, so I guess install one here. They had no freaking clue. They had nothing to say, so this was an afterthought. So I'm probably gonna have my wife build a custom box here at her work, because they do fabricating there. But yeah, very weird that they did this. Out in the front here, there's a disconnect switch. This is the master disconnect switch for the battery to disconnect everything if you want everything to shut off. There's some more lighting, marker lights on the corners. This would be the back side of the toy hauler. So normally you do all the fun stuff in the front. The shade and the entrance to the inside is in the front. So there's a vent here for the, I believe it's the bell housing for the oven. This is for the refrigerator if you need to do any service. Here's your 110 cable. I currently have it hooked up into the garage. Down at the bottom is all your valves and your drain pipes for your gray and black water. Also some outlet connections. Down over here is a freshwater tank and also a drain. If you need to drain your freshwater tank, you want to leave them filled if it's going to sit for a long time. So this is your gas water heater maintenance section here. Over here you have your freshwater and city connection. This is a flush valve, I believe, to flush out your gray and black water tanks. And then over here towards the very back you have a 50-gallon, I believe, a fuel tank at the very bottom. It does come with a fuel nozzle located in that lockable storage, and here is your level sensor and to turn on the pump. So that works out great. I like putting gas in here and then just filling the X3 later on. I don't have to pull the car down, fill it up, and then load it. So that's pretty much it for the exterior of the toy hauler. The only thing I did notice on this toy hauler that I didn't notice when we got it is there's no ladder to get to the roof. But luckily when I park it, I can just jump on my roof on my home and then just jump on the top of it if I need to do any maintenance to it. So one last thing I want to touch on is what size truck do I have and how do I haul this toy hauler and how do I like it. We like the toy hauler. It's a little small, but then again, it's just big enough because the truck that I have is a Silverado 1500, and this truck, although it's a powerful truck with the 5.3 liter V8, it could use more power, especially when hauling this giant toy hauler. So I did do some modifications to my truck in order to pull this hauler without issues. I did change out the rear end gear ratio from 342s up to 410s. So although I'm a little bit higher in the RPM range, it seems to pull the toy hauler with less issues, especially from a stop. And then the this vehicle did not come with E85, but the older trucks, we were 2014 and 2015, did come with them. So I grabbed fuel lines and a validity sensor from a 14 and 15 truck. I swapped them to mine and I did some tuning, and I'm running E85 on my truck. So every time I tow the toy hauler, I do run E85, and believe it, it makes a big difference. From the factory, you're supposed to gain like 25 to 28 horsepower, and I forgot what the torque number was, but 25 to 28 horsepower is very welcomed when you're trying to pull this giant toy hauler. So the last thing I want to touch on is the weight, because it's very important for somebody with a 1500 truck to know the weight. Obviously we recommend, or I recommend, a diesel, but I don't have a diesel myself, so this is important for me as well. The trailer weighs about 5,900 pounds dry weight according to the website, and the X3 weighs around 1,800, probably closer to 2,000 pounds now that I have all these accessories and modifications to it. So we're pushing around close to 8,000 pounds, and that's dry weight. That's not including filling up your fuel tank with all the gas, filling up the water tank with 100 gallons of water, and then the other 2 tanks that may have residual gray and black water. So plus the grill that I take, the generator that I take, all these other stuff, the kids in the car, the other stuff that you may be taking, like another easy up, lighting, tools, food, the list goes on. So you gotta be very conscious of the weight. I am, as always, when I take out the toy hauler, but it seems to be doing just fine. Do I recommend it for someone with a 1500 truck? If you have a 2-seat side by side that you're taking, or maybe just some quads, then I think you'll be just fine. If you're taking the 4-seat max, you're maxing it out. You really are maxing it out, and that's what I'm doing, but I'm able to do it. I wouldn't say I take any steep hills, but a 3% grade, it works out fine. I'm able to go 55. I'm not fully at the pedal, but it works out. So something to be cautious about, something to think about. Yeah, that's it for this video. The toy hauler is pretty dope. We've had it for about 7 months, no issues. We will report issues if we encounter them. For the time being, it works out. It does haul around this X3 Max, and it does the job. So thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I would urge you to do so. I do modifications to my X3 and do install videos on my truck and all sorts of stuff. So if you can, hit the like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. If you have any questions on the toy hauler, my truck, my X3, or anything of that matter, go ahead, leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Also follow me on Instagram, and yeah, stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.